Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back here. Hopefully, we find you in a good mood. Hopefully, everything is okay with you. I know me and Paulina, we haven't been did a video in a while, but this video is a very beautiful, very special. We took time, first of all, to understand and share in our own experience. I think that this video is going to be helping a lot of people, not only about the twin flames journey, not only about with the thing itself, because this is coming from universal laws. And when you're talking about those universal law of polarities, particularly, and so on, we're going to be giving you some a very good heads up into this. There's going to be some very good nuggets. If you have any questions, guys, please don't be afraid to ask. And Christian, thank you for coming in. Glad to see you here. And we're gonna get started. And I'm gonna be giving you the mic to Paulina. And we are very excited to share in these things with you guys. All right, so let's get cooking.
Yeah, I was just trying to adjust the camera because I was not in the middle. So, yeah, whatever. Yeah, it's been a while because we were busy with our stuff. We were busy with collective stuff, individual stuff. But it feels like we've had nice discussion that has to be shared. Our experiences that we were going through hopefully will be able to help people who are struggling to really find the balance. That it's sometimes it takes a little bit of practice, but maybe if you hear about other people's experiences or maybe have some other perspective on the how the whole dynamic is playing out, is how much of the things you can actually control, how much of the things you should just be aware and not react on. So yeah, hopefully it will help to understand how we are really balancing the extremes all the time. Like first you will be balancing different extreme within yourself, but then eventually if you're it already or enough, you will have a chance to continue with someone else, and there are going to be the same patterns, the same issues that you're going to relearn or remember how to maintain the balance, because it's of course like triggers will be coming, and the question will be always, how are you reacting to those triggers?
Yes, I'm gonna react to the triggers, but what the triggers actually are, right? A lot of it's been talking about the triggers. It's been talking about the triggers into psychology and the spirituality in the regular relationships, consultations, and so on. But when you look at it in this, you have to simplify things. And what are the simplifying things is, but looking at into them to the nature, and you look at it to the universal laws. And what are the polarities? It's more actually easy to understand. The polarities coming from the gravitations, the polarities are coming from the magnetic fields, okay? And you, as a person who has energy, you're creating a magnetic field. So, of course, you're a human being. You have positive, you have negative, you have south node and a north node, right? Is the same thing with your counterpart. But realizing in there, it is about that right in the middle of that magnet. You want to talk about a little bit about this. Between the south and the north, what's happening there? Between the positive and the negative, where are they getting separated? How that they are? Well, in the middle of the magnets, that's the peace. That is it, the balance that it's made into there. And just give me a second, because I have to zip it up my notifications, because I'm getting some messages, and I have to see how to do this. I'm gonna keep on going. I can hopefully it's not gonna bother that much with this. So what I'm saying in here is the balance. So your balance from within yourself between your negative and positive, it's going to also bring the balance with your counterpart. Now, what I'm going to say in there is like, if you are negative towards your twin flame, if you're negative about something that they did or something in there, you are pointing out your north node of the magnet in there. So you put that negative energies towards what? Towards them. And if they are in their negative side, in there, guess what's happening? You try to put them together, right? But they push back, right? They pushed it back. You cannot put them exactly physically to stay together. You can hold them in there under pressures, but the pressure is built up. As soon as you let it go, they just poof, back that up. It's the same thing with the positive. You're so much positive. You're so much positiveness, and the other person is so much positiveness. But you guys don't see that your collective norths are in there and outside. So too much positiveness is going to create negativity. There is no balance. The balance that is happening in there when the one points their north node and the other points their south node. And then what happens is they get united. And that union right there, that creates that balance within the twin flames, within the relationships, within the energies, within the gravity. Everything is without key that it comes in from what? The way the universe works. It's a perfect balance of two oppositions. So now the negative sends that negative feedback, the positive look at that negative feedback. And what are you going to be doing with that is so interesting, because a lot of the twin flames, when they take that negative energy in there, when they taking this okay, I think that that notifications are very strong. Don't want to stress you out, so I cut that off. All right. So to go back in there, how you take that positive? If that negative energy is too strong, it penetrates the positive, and the positive is trying to protect itself, right? But if the negative energy is with the purpose, the positive sees it and maintains the balance. And that's how the twin flames operates it in there. It's the same thing, the backward case. If you're too positive, the negative says like, hey, you're too positive on this. You're missing certain things to see. You're missing certain situations in there. But what you're going to experience, think what a lot of the people who do not understand this, they don't have what? That peace, that we part. And that we part is that balance. You may not gonna like it, certain triggers, but if you don't like certain triggers, where is the first things to look? In your counterpart? A lot of the twin flames that comes into me and they're complaining about their twin flame, or they are the runners in that case, and some the situations in there. Why do you running? Because you don't have that balance within you. That balance within you doesn't understand how to create the balance within them in the energy level. The very simple magnetic level in there. Okay, so the way you should managing these polarities, and those polarities when that comes into, if your counterpart is positive, see and give them the feedback. But it's not like a pointing finger, it's not like, and so on and so on. If you, just in case you're too positive, you're gonna feel like something is off. If you're, just in case, you're too negative, don't point to the negative and getting in there. Take your time, pull that off. The best things it is like, you know what, I'm right now in negative energy. I need a time off. I need to take a look something. I'll call you when we get there. Okay, so you see that triggers what triggers within you. It's not because you don't love them, or you love them, you love your twin flame, but you don't like what that triggers. Don't mistake with don't like, with don't love, because this is where you're getting screwed up. Okay, this is one of the things are, and I'm gonna go back to Paulina in there because she's getting it, the goodies out.
No, it's just I was trying to remember, our experience, how it really. I think it's easy to forget that you cannot get all of those things always right, and you cannot really avoid uncomfortable conversations or uncomfortable moments. And even looking back, it's like I think as you try to build a relationship, you expect things to just be easier and easier and go smooth all the time. And it's sometimes those are moments that you discover some new truths that are not very comfortable. They are necessary, or maybe you just trigger each other because you need to take at the surface some of the things that was not addressed before. So even it was confusing for us. We were wondering, are we doing something wrong, that it's suddenly there is some rupture in the connection, right? And I believe if we are going through this, it will be happening to more people. So I think it's time for in the twin flame community, in those spiritual connections, to talk that it's expected to have those turmoils. It's like not to panic whenever those situations are coming up, because they are really just coming to show you the different extremes or different polarities of the things you haven't addressed. So maybe if we are getting more heads up that those things will be happening, that you may expect uncomfortable situations, even some energetic disconnections from your counterpart, that it is okay, and it will be your kind of a homework to train yourself not to panic, not to put everything, on the under the rug, or just break the connection just because it got uncomfortable. So anytime it was happening, right, for us, when we had these uncomfortable moments, we work it through, and we just didn't give up on that. We were just digging deep, and we're trying to discover really maybe not that much about whose fault, who triggered what, but it's more about, okay, what is it really showing us? Like, why it showed up right now? What do we do? What we missed previously? So it's just interesting how if you can push yourself into this discomfort and just sit with it, and deal with your own triggers as they come. That's up to you how you deal with your emotional body, but then try to stick to it, because many people, I think, they are they're willing just to either like break connection or just block someone because it's so uncomfortable, and is uncomfortable. But it's also interesting if you allow yourself to sit with it and don't be the person to call anything off. It's a very good approach, I think, to train yourself to be patient enough to have all this guidance all the way, and never make those drastic calls on your own. It's just whenever you're confused, just sit with it and allow this discomfort to actually create something, because very often it will create some space, right? Like that's what we felt. It was very uncomfortable. It felt like it's just tearing something apart. But then there is this spaciousness that it's created, and how else you would grow, and how else you would uncover those things that are in the subconscious so much, because everyone is protecting ourselves. So it's just very interesting process. So for anyone who is in those connections on this stable level, that you can allow yourself to talk through those uncomfortable moments, it's just very precious for you to learn to discover how you're feeling in those not so nice moments, and can you work through that, or are you gonna run away, escape because it's just too painful or too scary. Awesome.
can I hear me? Can you hear me now? Thank you, Christian. For huh, I missed a lot of stuff. Then something happened with the microphone was off. Don't know. Can you hear me now? That will be a good thing. I think that possibly yes. What I was saying here is about that when two people getting it together with this the pool that Paulina was talking about, that pool, it's tearing the things apart. And why the things are getting apart? Because they are either too positive or they are too negative. So they don't cannot maintain the balance on there. So as Paulina said, take your time because in that time of that pool that it comes from it, it takes you kind of like pushes you away. Okay, that energy is to look at it in you. As Paulina said, when we have this kind of like a situations, they're not that common, but they are coming once in a great moons, and they are strong because we haven't really looked at it. And every time the situations are happening, and there, we were able to look at it deeper. But that doesn't mean that oh, we're getting separated, or I'm gonna block her off, or I'm gonna be, doing all that crazy stuff, and I don't like it. It's and or anything like that. No, it is like I'm negative. I need to figure out why I'm a negative. What happened? Why I lost my balance? Why I lost my inner peace? What is this trigger comes in within me? And then I start digging it deep and deep. I'm not putting that energy towards her, but I'm feeling the energies within me. I'm like, what is happening? What is that is, right? What happened with our we part where we don't have the balance at the current moment? And they're like, you need to understand how to get to the balance, what balance is. And soon as we figure out what the balance is, that the one has to be a positive, the one has to be a negative in there too, and that looks from that point of through the negative side, we are seeing it what the positive side does not see. But at the same time, the negative side sees the positiveness of that evolution, that it's gonna goes up. It's the same time the positiveness. It's because it's too positive, it set itself in a fault, and that fault what comes in there, that fault of too positive, you don't see the pitfalls, you don't see the negative side, you cannot make it up in there. But when as soon as you see it and you make a balance, guess what happens? You evolve, and the connections is evolving every time we have this trigger, but it frees up space, but at the same time creates additional space. It creates evolution. And then the beauty, it's even getting better, right? And this is every time we're getting into there, we were like, what is this coming from? Well, this is the evolutions of the humanity, but we are now more different, two different magnets. The only thing that we have power inside of us through the connections and to our personal connect with ourselves is why we are the way we are. Because if you look within you, you also have positive and negative, and you're trying every single day, every single moment to maintain that balance. And one of the connections is based out of the inner peace and the soul, because there is no polarities there, right? Now, the connection itself says, like, you need to understand this principle. You need to understand who you are. You need to understand your emotions. You need to understand your energies. And all of a sudden, this simple thing of understanding the polarities is going to help you to resolve so many problems. Hope you understanding and this. So sorry about the mic. Don't know. Maybe by accident I moved the mouse and then turn it off. Oh.
No, probably work, when you just remove notifications.
Mm-hmm.
No, but it was just interesting to kind of get the confirmations how these dynamics actually work, because it's always easy to manage what's coming towards you. You can somehow prepare in how those dynamics will be continuing if you can save yourself this running and chasing and blocking episodes, because you're both aware enough just not to repeat the same mistakes, because that's not the way that things should be. If we can really expect the turmoil moments to be happening, and knowing that all you can own is just your own responses, right? The tricky part is when we still have some traumatic responses from our previous disappointments, or maybe from childhood or some other connections, the previous relationships that caused us a lot of trouble and trauma. And when we will be put into these uncomfortable states and dealing with our rejection or abandonment issues, it can get scary and can get very negative, right? So I'm just hoping that you can gradually prepare better to deal with those things easier and easier, because the way I understand about the process, it's not gonna end. There those cycles of getting along so nicely and all the peaceful, and then getting let's call it separated, even energetically, they will be happening, because otherwise there would be no growth. So we need to expect that. But I think I'm just kind of trying to get explanation how we can prepare better, and hopefully share it with people. How do you deal mentally with I think getting prepared for those moments, and maybe changing a positivity, or maybe changing your mindset about those moments, that we have to have a cycles of a little bit of distraction, because you're gonna be rebuilding those things that are not working, they are too old, your old patterns. Or maybe it's even a bit like a chance for you to heal. You will be triggered in a very similar way, but then outcome is a little bit different. So it's almost like the life will be giving you the chance to experience this one more time, but then you have enough safe environment to actually heal it. That's the only way really to patch those wounds. And if one other thing that's coming to me right now, also at those moments of separation, it can teach you a lot to remember your own powers, right? It's just, what would you do if your twin flame is not together with you? Are you gonna panic? Are you go into depression mode? Or are you gonna see the light further? Are you ready to accept? Again, test of accepting the reality as it is. If life will be putting on you all the scenarios, like, can you live through them? And can you see way forward? Because I think it's very easy to get paralyzed and just get into this fearful mode and block yourself. So I believe in anything, the connection will be asking you, okay, who you're choosing right now? Are you still choosing yourself, your own good, and trust that the right person will be doing the right thing? So ultimately, that's where it was coming to, right? Like the test of what are you gonna do with you about you? You cannot really control other person action. You can hope that they will do the right thing, and you will hope that the connection will straighten itself out. And as much as I see, the moment you choose really yourself and you're ready to accept any scenario, the right things are continue happening, right? So the communication goes back, because you can literally feel the release. So it's almost like talking about those positive, negatives, and those extremes. If you can center yourself, you you almost like remove this pull into any direction. You begin to flow, and the connection can steer itself in the right direction, like back on its own way. The expansion happened because all this rapture happened, right? So that's a good thing, but it sorted itself out. All you had to do is allow it to happen, sit with it, and just don't mess with it. I think ultimately that's the goal. Whenever those moments are happening, we are not really being asked to do like the major changes in our lives or a huge amount of inner work. It's just maintain it, like just keep it. Don't destroy things, because some of those waves are, they are just meant to be experienced. They are doing its own expansion in its own way. All we have to do is just to sit and don't allow our human reactions to interfere with the process. Just kind of training our ego. Don't do any stupid decisions, stupid movements, because it's very easy. It's a very thin line, and things can get destroyed very easily because we are all in our, emotional bodies, and it's so interconnected that we have to be very careful not to break it. I think that's what I wanted to say.
Before I answer your question, Christian, very good questions actually. Thank you for posting in. In these cases, what Paulina was, I'm gonna kind of like bring it on edge a little bit up. The connection itself that you have between you is balance. It's based out of inner peace, because that energy of inner peace is there. But just because your emotional bodies or your energetics, you are currently working on something to understand it, the connections itself over the time is going to say, is like, here, you're not positive, negative towards each other, so you can have the balance. You need to look in there what this is. And as Paulina said, all of a sudden, when you're not doing anything, the connection steer itself out. It strengthens the things out. Okay? You're figuring things out. And then you need to look at it, the trigger. Okay? Because the trigger, it comes in for what purpose? Something is not healed. As Paulina said, maybe some trauma, maybe some things from inner child, maybe previous relationships, maybe a lack of understanding the proper masculine or feminine energies inside of you. If you look at masculine and feminine, you can put a positive and negative in a magnet. It's pretty much, it's universal principles in there. But the connection is going to come back and it's going to say, like, let's make the balance again. And then you reconnect again, and then you're talking about the issue. Then you figure out that the issue was in there to help you two, to evolve. And when you're understanding this issue, you will understand the DNA, the positive, the negative that brings up. They both evolve at the same time because they have balance. Okay? They have the balance, and you want that balance with your twin flame. But guess what happens when you're getting with your twin flame? You want your twin flame to react in a certain way, the way you want it. But they don't, because you want it. You don't allow the connections to steer itself out. So when you're negative, your twin flame maybe can mirror you. They're negative too. Try to put two negative magnets together. It doesn't happen. Or when you guys are too positive, you're putting all the positiveness and so on and so on, and so all of a sudden you start getting together, and then there's, guess what? Separations coming out, right? So either way, if you're too positive or too negative and they're about you as a twin flame, guess what? Separations in order, because you're now operating from balance. And that's how the runner in there is trying. Okay? Because see, if the one was positive, the other was negative, it's going to be attraction, fatal attraction. Okay? But try to get a positive magnet, and you have another positive magnet, and try to catch it. As soon as you try to catch it, it moves forward. As soon as you try to catch it, it moves forward. Is that a runner chaser situations? Yes, it is. Okay. Now the intensity of all this is gonna comes in as the vibrations. How powerful your vibrations in the soul are, how your vibrations in the bodies are, and your emotions. What is the frequency? Do you vibrate at four hertz, like 4 times, or you are vibrating at 1,000 hertz? They just like, you just basically don't see it, right? It's intensity, but that you're gonna be learning down the road. The more proper right now it is to understanding that these polarities, they're crucial and they have purpose in there. Even Carl Jung, we were looking at with Paulina, Carl Jung was saying, can I have these beautiful connections of two negative people or two positive people? One has to be a positive, the other a negative, and both of you make in balance. Okay, you may switching roles, you may switching polarities, right? But guess what? You still have the balance that is in the middle. All right, Christian, what about losing our TF? What it's mean losing, first of all, and so on. It is just the energy that it says, like, you know what, I don't like you as who you are as a magnet, or whatever the situation happens in there. I'm gonna be choosing another magnet because that's what my attractions is going on right there. Okay, so it's the same thing, like the little pieces in the universe and the void. There actually, it's like, can I get another one? Are you gonna get another one? And so on and so on. We're experiencing this with Paulina because our counterpart is that ignite us at the beginning. Guess what? They are somewhere else. They don't communicate. They don't talk. They don't, like aliens takes them away, right? They disappeared, right? But the universe has its what? He's got its principles because we are all what? All one energy. And Paulina said she made it a great videos, guys, here in the channel. I suggest you to look at it. Can I get another twin flame, or I'm gonna get in there? You resolve your issues, the universe will say, okay, you're ready for another chance because another energy is gonna come towards you. When you evolve, she's been talking about in her last videos, she was talking about that particular case. When you evolve, you're going to attract something else because you are in a different vibrations. Your frequency doesn't match that initial person in there. So I feel solid with myself, but I generally miss the divine counterpart. I'm struggling to have faith for another new connection. It's not about the faith. Don't lose faith. As Paulina said, you need to lose a faith in you. And I want to give the mic back to Paulina because she has a very great, she did a very great video, and I'm gonna be her cheerleader, okay, a little bit, but I don't have a pom poms in there, but yeah, you need to understand that that's the things are, and through our personal experience, we've been through quite a few things, okay, and we're sharing the things here. All right, so without ado, I'm giving the mic to Paulina.
We have quite. We tried similar thing and it worked. So of course there are different experiences. People are sharing different ways of approaching it. But if you're interested in your own evolution and you want to see what else is there besides, separation from your twin flame, if there is another potential connection, if you can still do your work, if you can still evolve, if you can still discover this time with these topics with someone, not just thinking about unavailable magnets, but just, okay, there's so many other magnets out there, maybe I can have another one, so especially those missing is the emotions that help you to understand really what is it that you're lacking, like are you really missing the way that someone treated you, or are you missing a face, are you missing just the idea of a person? So sometimes it's like really you have to think about the quality of a relationship you had with someone, and based on knowledge after doing your inner work and knowing yourself better, do you think that was a healthy connection? Do you think your dynamic was a proper way? Were you both ready to have a proper connection? Because sometimes it's like we are missing, but we are not really oh, I'm missing the way someone was talking, or I'm missing the way we had the same taste in music, but the moment you look a little bit deeper, is like in a way how we were treating each other, how we were resolving things. It's just all drama, so that can be very easy to differentiate, what you're missing. But if everything was perfect and then still was destroyed, well, the communication was missing, the reciprocity was missing, we were not on the same page. So it always comes down to, it's like, what are you allowing yourself to do? And answering this question, really, like, what do you want for yourself? Do you want a healthy relationship, and do you want to discover this spiritual realms with someone who is on the same page as you are, meaning that they have the same amount of self-love, self-understanding, and respect toward themselves and towards you? Or are you getting attached to the certain phase or certain magnet that ignited you in the first place? And those are choices that we are all making, right? Like, you can choose to be within this twin flame community and repeating over and over that we have only one twin flame, and once it's done, you are just condemned, and you have to wait until forever, until the universe bring you two back together. This is a narrative that many people are repeating, and who knows, maybe they're right. But to me, it looks like you can choose to be active participant in your journey and learn as much as you want on the way and experience all of those things. So ultimately, it's your choice, right? Like, are you first? Do you think you're ready to have another relationship? Do you want? If you don't want to, really don't. You should not be starting anything if you feel you're not ready or you don't want to, because it shouldn't be pressured, right? Like, you have free will, and if your soul wants to focus 100% on your own self and experience anything else without this binding to another person commitment, that's perfectly fine. I think many people have pressures, as soon as they don't have their twin flame available, that means that they should be looking for soulmates, or all those terms. They try to find someone else instead, but maybe that's not what they are needing to do at the right time and that time. So yeah, overall, it's always nice to see where you're standing, and is it really, what is this missing part? Are you missing someone, or are you maybe missing how someone makes you feel, or maybe you're missing the way you should be treating yourself, and work from there. So, but good question, Christian. Like it.
Very good. And um very I mean, since I know that the things that are happening in there, but uh you said right here, I didn't finish it. I'm struggling to have faith that for another connections is out there for me. I will not settle for less. See, when you evolve, you can go back down. You're trying to go back down, and all of a sudden it's not working. Why? Why it's not working? Why are you looking for something that it's similar or even higher? Why is it that it happens? Okay, because you already learned the frequency and you learned the vibrations of the magnet. See, the magnets, they have frequency and vibrations. That's how they are attracting the gravity towards themselves, and they're attracting certain things. So if you are wounded, you are vibrating on a certain wounds. This is what it was said there. If you and Paulina was great. I was just listening, and it's all of a sudden the pictures is just whatever is happening in her. It comes in like a projector on the screens in here. Needs. Do you love yourself unconditionally to learn what unconditional love is? Or you have the needs, or as Paulina said, you're chasing something. What are you chasing in there? Right? Because in an unconditional love, there is no conditional, there is no conditions. It's not like if you do this, then I'm gonna do that. It's like a contract, okay, based out of needs. Oh, I need somebody to look after me. I need somebody to pay attentions. So you're attention seeker. There is a conditions in the unconditional love where that comes in it to you as an energy. First of all, you become that unconditional love to yourself, and then it don't set up the conditions. But the connections itself is gonna be trigger what? The we part. So if you start missing the we part, all of a sudden it's like, okay, here the trigger comes in, and I am the we part within me. What happens in there? Right? So everything comes back in there. And of course, you won't be settled for less. Okay? If you're losing a faith, that's mean you don't believe in who? In you. Not in the universe, I'm sorry, not in the universe, not in the that the universe can bring you another person, another different energy that can bring you to where you're supposed to be. In there. You don't have the faith in you. So if you don't have faith in you, so is the universe has no faith in you. But don't operate from needs. Enough with those needs, enough with the requirements, enough with all this. You will understand the soul, once the soul ignites in there, and that ignition is about that love to bring you in there. And 10 is give you the directions, but you have to do the work, right? And those who does the work, they understand inner peace, okay? Don't understand inner peace, I'm suggesting you to watch Kung Fu Panda movies. That's a good one in there. So back to you, darling.
Yeah, one thing I wouldn't say that we have to get rid of requirements. Maybe we just have to rephrase how we refer to it. It's more, if you call requirements as standards for yourself and for your interactions with people and with your partner, like we have to set them, because if you don't have requirements, you don't have a baseline in what you feel you deserve. So I would say it's like, as you know yourself, of course, like maybe it's less of a demand. It's just that you deserve certain things and you will not settle for less. So I like this approach, that's for sure. But one thing to remember, that it's the unconditional love part is just really allowing the person to make their own choices and take the responsibilities for that. Respect their choices and build on that. Don't try to make it in something that it's not. If someone said A, don't make it B. If just take whatever your counterpart at the present moment told you. I'm not even gonna go into this multidimensionality, but whatever counterpart you consider yourself right now, if they say, I don't want to talk to you, just let them go. If they don't want to talk to you and you want to chase someone, that means that you have some work to do, because you're still trying to chase someone that it's not willing to even communicate. You can safely let them go. If they're mature, they have the chance to always go back. But you may be blocking some level of connection by chasing something that it doesn't want to cooperate with you. Because the moment you kind of step back and it's like, okay, I'm not gonna chase. I'm tired of chasing. I'm just really focused on myself. And you put those energies inwards, really good things will start to happen, because you will be saving lots of energy for yourself and you're getting the right redirection. If something was not working, that's nothing else than the redirection. So many times we try to when we try to work those things, we are really not sure. Like, sometimes to me, it feels like our connection is ending. I'm like, okay, if it's ending and it's ending, but then what can I do about it? Like, I can just try to bring myself into peace. And I try not to lose faith. Like, as Christian said, it's actually faith is the only thing that will be keeping you going on a journey, because you cannot really predict other person's actions. But if you have a faith that the right connection will be sticking to you, and your right partner will be managing to deal with their own stuff, That's all you have to know, really, because that's how it's. We are talking here about spiritual connection, right? It's a soul connection. So you have to be close to your soul and cooperate with them, with the energies, with your soul, to keep moving.
Exactly. I need to be more specific in there because there's so many thinkings that it comes in. There's a requirement, I was referring to requirements as a need. Okay. Not like you have your personal standards that needs to be matched and so on and so on. But one thing, the journey for the both individuals and unions, okay, it's gonna comes in, it's gonna be set requirements of what you need to do as a couple. That could be in all different areas of life, all different areas of learning, of evolving. And this is how the both individuals is gonna be learning. It's not his choice, it's not my choice. It is the third, the unifying choice that it's presented to us. Because see, every time you choose you don't choose your partner, right? Now, when that energy of what the journey as a twin flame comes in, that is going to be the driven. They're going to have a very beautiful divine guidance that it comes into you. Okay, very beautiful, and you will understand things beyond what you thought you could understand. Okay, and this is what we are talking about here with Paulina. Maybe the thing's a little bit above your level of understanding, but we're trying to simplify it for you. And this is why, if you have issues to understand this video, simply take it to magnets. Put under one magnet myself, my counterpart, and start playing with it. See how much you will understand it in there. See how you're gonna be like, oh my God, this is explained so much. Why did we make the things complicated? Our what? Egos makes it complicated. Our lower ego, not our higher ego in a way. Okay? But you will understand that that purpose that it comes in, it sets that balance between positive and negative. And now both mutually in love evolve. And guess what? They spin. And they become bigger magnet. See, if you take two magnets, they are smaller. You put them together with the positive, the negative, there is this balance between them. One becomes positive, the other becomes negative. But they can spin. They can have a combined, huge, big gravity field. Right? And they can impact more people. Understanding something very simple, but that it impacts you, your life, in a very beautiful ways by managing and understanding polarities. Okay, guys? Hopefully that video was good for you guys. If you guys have any questions, you guys can reach out to it. But for right now, I think that's it. If you, darling, have any last words to say, anything?
No, I think we explained everything. Maybe too much physics and magnets, but it really helps to see those things from proper perspective. How we are just sometimes we are being controlled in a way by those magnetic forces, and it's sometimes you cannot do much. All you can do is just really control your reactions and don't do stupid things. And I think many of the separations or unnecessary troubles can be avoided if we kind of train ourselves to be less reactive emotionally sometimes. So thanks for listening, and put any questions in the comments or ideas for the next videos. Always appreciate it. Good luck.
we're gonna be making some more videos. We're gonna be expanding out of that stuff, guys. But for right now, we likes to say thank you. Thank you for the click, likes, the shares, the subscribes, and we appreciate you and keep in touch. Much love to you and good luck in your journey.